Today we're going to be talking about how campfirewriting.com is not only a really fun writing software, but it's a really great way to have your book discovered by new readers. So I did a previous video, I think it was last year, where I talked about how I use campfirewriting.com to not only outline my book, but to create character profiles. You can also use it to write your manuscript directly in the software, and it's just a very visual way of writing your book for those who like to have visual references as they're writing, and for those who really like to dive deep into the story and world building. So if you haven't watched my previous video on campfire writing, make sure to check that video out first, and then come back to learn how you can take what you've done in campfire writing and use it to promote your book. My name is Mandi Lynn. I make weekly videos on the business of being an author, so if that sounds good to you, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well as hitting that bell notification icon so you never miss a new upload. A huge thank you to today's sponsor, Campfire Writing. I've been using Campfire for a couple of years now. Before they were even Campfire Writing, I've used all the different versions of the software that they've made, and they only get better with age. So today we are discussing how to use the Campfire Explore option on their interface. So what is Campfire Explore? Campfire Explore can be used in a few different ways, but long story short, it's basically a way to get your book discovered by other readers and other writers on Campfire. So if you've been using Campfire to write and outline your book, then you're going to love this little additional piece that you can do to potentially really promote your book. You can use the Campfire Explore option while you're writing your book or after it's been published. But basically, when you go on Campfire, there's a few different tabs. There's the Write tab, where you can write and outline your book. There's the Learn tab, where they have tutorials and different things about writing. And then there's the Explore tab. So that's what we're talking about today. The Explore tab is exactly that. It's a place where you can explore and discover new stories. Many writers are on the Explore tab to post updates about their book, or just share their story as they're writing it, or maybe to just promote their book after it's already been written. It's fun because you can search by genre to discover new things, and you can also comment on other people's stuff, so it's kind of also a fun place to network with other authors. I would say it's pretty comparable to Wattpad in terms of it's a place where you can potentially post chapter by chapter as you write them and get feedback. But I would say the best part about Campfire Explore is that it's not as saturated as Wattpad, and it's a place where you could potentially jump on the bandwagon early before it becomes a saturated platform. And you can also have it so the Campfire Explore page that you create for your book doesn't have to be public. So if it's public, it'll be listed on the Campfire Explore tab, but you can also make it private just for yourself, or do link sharing, so whoever has the link to the Campfire Explore page are able to access it. So it's potentially something really great to use and share with your critique partners. So here we are on the Campfire website. I've got my project here, Meet Me at the Summit. So again, before you can create a Campfire Explore page, you have to create a Campfire project in the first place. So here's my project page for Meet Me at the Summit. It was previously called Project Road Trip, but I ended up changing the title to the actual title of the book. But you can see I've already gone in and I've created a bunch of characters. I have my manuscript. I only have the first chapter in here. I don't have any locations, maps, or research because at the time I used my Campfire page a little strangely, and I ended up putting my locations in as a timeline because the locations were changing so often. So that's under my timeline tabs, and then I also have a relationship tree, and then I also have the list of people that were in a certain scene. So this is the page that I've created for Meet Me at the Summit. So again, you already have to have this all created, but once you have it created, then you can go to Explore and then hit My Projects. And then if you wanted to create something from scratch, you would go down here and hit Publish a New Project. So I'm going to click that now, and it says I can make one for Project Road Trip 2, which is the book that I just published, Let the Rebel Fall. So I could potentially make another Explore page for that, but because it's a series, it doesn't really make sense to have another Explore page. I just want to make an Explore page for the first book in the series. And I already started to make one for Meet Me at the Summit, so we're going to view that right now. So this is my Explore page for Meet Me at the Summit. You can see I have this fun little graphic. It's basically just a close-up of the book cover. I have the book synopsis, and then I have this little button here that says start reading the book. So if someone were to come and discover Meet Me at the Summit on this page, they'd be able to click here and it would bring them over to Amazon where they could buy the book, which is awesome. So then I also have the book trailer so people can watch the trailer. And then I decided to put the VW bus right here because I feel like that's the hardest thing for people who aren't familiar with VW buses and like how they're also camper vans. I love this visual because this is kind of what I used as a reference a little bit when I was trying to describe the bus in the book. And then if you keep scrolling, I actually took quotes from people who read and reviewed Meet Me at the Summit and added them in here. And then I also added these cool visuals from the book to kind of spice things up. And then this is just like a one-sentence pitch for the book. And yeah, and then you can see if we click over to the left-hand side, we have a couple different things like main characters. We have the bus is considered a main character in my book because it's iconic. And then we have Marley, the actual main character. We have Dylan, the love interest, and Lori, the best friend. And then we can click and we see this chapter that people can read. And then people can also look and see the timeline. But again, for me, my timeline in this case is just the different places that my character travels to. But if you click on it, you get to see some fun visuals. And not all of them have visuals, but I know a couple of them do, like Yellowstone. It has these fun visuals that I mention in the book. So this is what we're going to be creating today. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Open Project Manager because this is the page that you guys will get when you first start creating your Explore page. So mine is actually filled out quite a bit, but I'm going to talk you through how you can create one for yourself. The best step to do next is to actually choose your element, and we're going to do that by clicking the Elements tab up here. Now the Elements is something you'll be familiar with if you've already been using Campfire. Because you've created characters and items and timelines, arcs, relationships, manuscripts, locations, maps, encyclopedia, research. You get the idea. It all is in here, and for me, you can see where I actually have content and where I don't. But this here, the settings section, is where we're gonna choose what's gonna be on our Explore page, because I don't want all of my characters on my Explore page. Like, I don't need the mom's family or the side characters. And these are actually characters from book 2 because I linked the projects together. I don't want all of that on my Explore page. I just want the main characters. So that's what I checked off. And then I don't have any items, so I can't check anything off. And then timelines, I only want my travel timeline checked off. I obviously don't want my Save the Cat beats or my chapter outline checked off, because then they'd be able to see literally the entire plot of the book. And then the only other thing that I wanted to include on my Explore page was my manuscript. So you could choose to either choose which particular chapters you want included, but in my case, I have all chapters selected because I only ended up putting one chapter into Campfire. But if you have your entire book on Campfire and you only want to share like the first chapter, you can select which chapters you want here. Now the thing to know is that if you are in Campfire right and you're updating things, like you're updating your character profiles and you're updating your timeline or your manuscript, it's not going to automatically update in Campfire Explore. The way you get it to update is just to hit this sync all button and then hit sync again, and you see syncing complete, and then it's all up to date. So just be aware of that because it doesn't automatically publish and update everything for you. So once you have all your elements picked out, we can go to the Manage Home page. So the first thing you do is you can pick out a little graphic. Now, I obviously already picked mine out, but I'm going to delete it just to show you how easy it is. So this is what it'll look like. I'm just going to click the Add Element, and then I'm going to check off this because this is what I ended up uploading there, and then hit Confirm. So that's there. And basically what you're doing is you're choosing whatever you want, and then you just drag and drop things. So this is just a text box where I pasted in the blurb for the book. And then this section here is the feature link option. So I just clicked on it. So there it is right there. So we'd put in whatever title. So for me, as you can see, I put start reading this book. You can describe the link. You paste in the link here, and then you put the image that you want associated with the link. So I'm just going to delete this to get rid of it. And then the way I added in my book trailer was that I hit this media button, and then I was able to paste in the link for YouTube, give it a caption, and then also selected to show the caption. And that's all I had to do to add in my book trailer. So the way I added in the bus was that I added it in as a character element. So as an example, I'm going to show you how you can add in a character element again. You can add in an element at any time by clicking this element button, but I already have one kind of like pulled up. So I'm just going to click add another element, and then this pops up, and these are all of my elements. So let's say I wanted to add my main character Marley as another element. I'm just going to click it off, hit add element, and she shows up right there. So obviously the way things look on the back end is a little different from the way things will actually look. So if you don't know how things are looking so far, you can just hit the preview changes button, and then it gives you a preview of everything. So I'm going to scroll down, and we see these are now side by side. So you can kind of play around with things. So if I just have the bus is going to be big. Or if I have the bus and my main character, it's side by side, and it kind of looks a little nicer. So I'm actually going to keep it that way, and I'm going to hit the back button so I can go back to where I was working on things. And you can see over here, like I said, this is just a quote box. We can see the quote box is right here. And then with the quote, it gives you the option to add photos and different things like that. So if I wanted to add in another quote, I would just hit the quote box again. And you can see I can paste in a quote here, attribution, and then add an element, like if I wanted to make things pretty. And I could click on Dylan because Dylan has a nice photo. And then I'd add a quote there. I'm going to delete it in this case. But yeah, you can see this right here is just a text box. And then this down here is the social option. So if you click off social, you'll get all these. And then you just type in, your Instagram handle, YouTube handle, and then I pasted in my website. So that makes it so when you go, I'm just going to hit save on everything so I don't lose anything. But that makes it so when you go all the way down here, we have these little social icons so people can find you elsewhere. So that's how we make the bulk of these things. It's very fun. I just highly recommend to go in and start playing with these things because like I made mine a certain way, but if you actually go to the Explore page and explore other people's projects, you can see there's a million different ways to do things. So I'm going to go back and hit Open Project Manager again to go back where I left off. So over here, this is just how you add your blocks in, and these are all your blocks. You can see they're visually blocks. You can add in headers, text fields, quotes. The only thing I guess we haven't really talked about yet is the updates. So if you have people that are kind of like following your story, if you're someone who's adding in a new chapter every week for people to read, you can post an update section to let people know what you updated. Media, like I said earlier, is how we added in my book trailer, how you can add in any YouTube video. Gallery, I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a second. Element is, like I said, if you want to add in characters or any other elements that you checked off over here. Social, I just showed you, and feature link, like I showed you earlier, is how you can add in your Amazon link to your book or any other links that may be important. So let's go ahead and add in our gallery, because my book Meet Me at the Summit is a very visual book. Like, I had a lot of photos that I looked at for reference as I was writing it, because Marley's traveling a lot, so she's seeing a lot of different things, and I want my readers to experience that as well. So I'm going to click on gallery, and it's just going to take a second to load and show up. But we can see it's right here. This is our gallery that we're going to form. So I'm going to start by just clicking add an image. And I'm going to scroll back because these latest images that you see are actually from Let the Rubble Fall. They're not from Meet Me at the Summit. So I'm just going to scroll all the way down. Okay, so now I'm just going to choose which one I want to be the first one. I'm going to choose this one and hit confirm. And then if I wanted to, I can add in a caption. I'm not going to for the sake of being lazy right now. And then to create my actual gallery, I'm going to hit add another slide and then hit add image. So again, scroll all the way down. What do I want to add next? Let's see. I think I just want to choose stuff that's visually interesting. So I'm going to click that, hit confirm, and I'm just going to do this over and over until I have a decent little gallery of photos. Okay, and so I just have 4 photos, and then I'm just going to click the header option because I want to put a header over all these images. So here's my header, but it's down here. So the way I'm going to move it is just hit this little bar button and then drag it up above the gallery. So now it's there. And what am I going to call this? I'm going to call it Take on the Ultimate Road Trip. And I'm going to put it in title case. All right, so that's that. And I'm going to hit preview changes. And we're going to see how all this looks. And here's our gallery. So we have the title right here. And then if we add a caption, it would show up down here. But as you can see, we can just kind of scroll through our gallery and it looks really cool and fun. Like, how awesome is that? I'm just going to hit the save button again so we don't lose anything. I'm very paranoid of losing stuff. All right, so now that we have our home page designed, we're going to move on to the next step, which is editing our settings. So our settings is all this fun stuff right over here, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go through all of it. So we just have our project name, which is Meet Me at the Summit, and our caption. And in my case, I called it A Sweet Romance with Travel and Coming of Age Themes That Will Tug on Your Heartstrings. And then you can set your project visibility. So like I said, if you want it to be hidden, so it's just for you, you keep it at the default where only you have access to the project. And if you want to send it to CPs, you click this. So now it's set to be able to share it. So all I have to do is copy and paste this link and I can share it with my critique partners and they'll be able to give me feedback and maybe interact a little bit with the page that I created. Or you can make it public, which I'm actually going to do right now. So I'm just going to click make public and then they tell you a few things. You can assign warnings. So if there's anything in your book that could be triggering, you want to set that here. I know for me, my book doesn't have any of this content. And I'm going to publish with 0 content warnings and it's live. Okay, so that's how you publish. But I'm going to go back to where we were. So the next thing is your feature image. I just have an image that I was using for reference all the time when I was writing, and that's my featured image. Then we have project tags. So this is stuff like genre and if it's a novel or a novella, and then it's also written in English. But you can just click through and find all the tags that are appropriate for your book here. The next is your project theme. So the project theme is just like visually how it looks. Mine is set for romance, but as you can see, there's other themes that you can choose through. And then once you choose a general theme, you can edit it and change some of the settings. But I'm going to keep mine to romance. The next thing is custom URL. I just changed it so mine will be campfirewriting.com/explore/meet-me-at-the-summit, so it's easy to remember and type out. Ratings, you can choose whether or not people can rate your project. Comments, you can enable or disable comments. And then lastly, the delete button, so if you want to get rid of it altogether. Alright, that is how you make your Campfire Explore page, and really the only step after that is to interact with other Explore pages on the website to maybe do some networking, meet some other authors and writers, and maybe just see if there's a book out there that you want to explore. And who knows, this might be a way that you meet critique partners or beta readers. Really, the options are endless, or like I've been saying, this could just be a fun way to discover new readers as well. If you end up trying Campfire Explore, let me know in the comments down below. I found this to be just something really fun to do with my book. I honestly don't care what happens if people discover my book through Campfire Explore or not. I just thought it was a really fun way to set up a visual page for myself. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of Campfire Explore and if you've been using Campfire to outline and write your book as well. That is gonna be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe.